Andy, you may not have noticed, and by our pre-pod conversation, you clearly didn't say anything, so you clearly didn't notice. But I've got new glasses, Andy. So
Dude, I feel bad that I didn't notice. Let me tell you, I'm so taken away with your great looks that I didn't focus on the glasses alone, but it is a good look for you. They're good glasses.
well, they're the same effectively that as previous ones, so you shouldn't notice too much.
I,
But But the problem is like when you get them, like you get the rub behind the ears, and then the nose pinchers. You got to figure out. So like my face is a little bit discombobulated. Almost feels like a U.S. military attack on Venezuela, where it discombobulate everybody.
yeah,
That's how my face feels right
yeah,
now.
I get it. I get it. I get
So
it.
I got the pinch on the nose. I got a little rub on the ears. So it's got to. These are the things you got to go through when you get glasses. So.
It's tough. I feel like kind of set me up there. You're like, hey, you didn't notice anything, and then when I acknowledge it, you're like, oh, but you probably shouldn't have noticed it. Yeah, I feel like that was
Yeah.
like a that's kind of like
Oh,
that's a wife type setup. It's like, hey, how do I look in this dress? Like, there's only one answer, but
oh yeah, 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 for sure. So
well,
yeah,
congratulations. I'm sorry for the obliteration of your face, but I'm glad you're working through it.
I've been married to you longer than I've been to my wife. So I've known
So,
you longer.
sorry
So
for that. Sorry for
yeah,
that.
I know exactly. Me too. So all right, Andy, how was your weekend?
It was good,
Good.
man. It was good. Productive. It's warm and sunny here. Life is good. Life is good.
It was hot, Andy. It
Yeah.
was wasn't just warm and sunny, but it was hot. And it was pure summer. You got the humidity, you got the storms, got a lot of things, and it was quite a weekend, Andy,
Yeah.
on many different fronts. Many
Many
different.
fronts. Many fronts. Mid June, Dave. Where are we on this mid June Monday?
We let's start with the first thing, and then we'll get into some funner stuff, I think. But I think we finally have a peace deal, Andy, but it's not necessarily a peace deal. It's
Yeah.
a agreement to talk further on a framework for peace.
Yeah.
I
To
think,
end war that wasn't necessary, to open the Gulf, which we don't care about, but we need to get done. So we have to go back to what it was. So we've accomplished what?
yeah, I think that's the problem because we were in negotiations for a peace deal before February 28th or whatever date it was, that we kicked off not war.
Right.
So like we were in those negotiations, and Andy, we had a deal 10 years ago with that was ripped up the first month. I just don't understand any of this. What did we accomplish here, Andy? It doesn't seem like a lot because they say they were not going to move towards a nuclear weapon. Iran has agreed not to pursue a nuclear weapon. Well, that was what the JPCOA said as well. That's like one of the first lines in the
Yeah.
JPCOA. So I'm not sure where like that was there. We're going to open the Strait of Hormuz, which wasn't closed before, as you said.
Right.
We're going to unfree. This is just again, we don't know the full details because it's not been fully shared, but we get some leaks from Iran and some, but they're going to unfreeze Iranian assets, which seems like a win for Iran. Um, they're going to, Andy, I don't understand what happened here.
Yeah. I mean, it really is hard to understand. We've a lot of people have died, and we keep losing sight of that as we sort of like get caught up in the nonsense that comes out of the White House. We keep losing sight of the fact that a lot of people have died in the region. I mean, Iran, Gaza, Lebanon, surrounding nations, American service members. Like a lot of people have died, and what have we gained through this process is completely unclear. And so the president's going to celebrate, the discussion of the promise of a ceasefire to a war that we're not fighting to come later this week to further negotiate afterwards. Like, what have we done? Like, what have we done at all? And like, at the end of the day, like, we're not taking uranium out of Iran. Like that's not going to happen. Like they're not going to be in a worse shape than they were. Their infrastructure has been damaged a little bit. Ev has neighbors in the region, but nothing has been accomplished except for the depletion of the U.S. resources. And a lot of folks are looking out at the U.S. military and saying, maybe there's a way to manage, the U.S. military. You don't think North Korea has observed this? Right? You don't think other regional actors observed this and just kind of thought through, like, how can we protect ourselves such as the Strait of Hormuz, right? The way Iran was able to manage that and leverage that. Are we in any way better off than we were in January right now?
No, no. We're worse off because we had 3 weeks of higher oil prices that are cascading on to consumers, and we have farmers who've had to declare like farming bankruptcy is at all-time highs, Andy. And again, this only added fuel to it. The actions from the tariffs last year that Trump blamed on other countries, but were actually because he did it. That hurt them too. But the other piece of this is it's supposed to be like all activities will even stop in Lebanon. Lebanon is included in this. Well, Israel's come out and said, actually, not so much because we're going to keep forces there and they're crushing the Trump administration for this. In fact, yesterday, where it looked like there was a peace agreement going to happen, there was an exchange of, missiles with Hezbollah and Israel that Trump had to go to social media to say, because that's where we argue things now on social media platforms.
That's right.
This must stop immediately. You're going to damage the peace. Yeah, I mean, this is what happens when you get your bedfellows are like pieces of shit too. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but we're going to see what comes out of it. We'll see if Israel really does lighten up at all or not, or just continues to blow up the progress being made. They're riding out Trump's inability to firmly say anything about this conflict and causing a lot of carnage and mayhem along the way. So we'll see. I mean, I think we're certainly not better off on the other side of this military conflict. We'll see how much worse off we are. But like you said, I mean, as the numbers came out, hiring was good, which is an exciting news last week, but followed by challenging inflation numbers. I mean, really challenging inflation numbers. Costs of everything are going up for American consumers and around the world, largely in response to the president's direct actions. I mean, there's a time we say that the president really doesn't affect the economy, right? The government doesn't create jobs, and the president, for all their big words, really don't control the success of the economy. But a government can damage the economy. And this government that we have in place today has absolutely damaged the economy. And so while they celebrate the stock market numbers, which most Americans do not benefit from, the reality is our economic situation for most people, the cost of living is higher. Jobs are a concern for a lot of people. People's dollars are going less far than they did before. And it's a real challenge. And it's a direct result of tariffs and war and instability. And so it's causing a lot of problems to the average American, while the president spends millions and millions of dollars celebrating his birthday.
yeah, you mentioned, and we have like coming up in I think next week or the week after, we have the Federal Reserve is going to meet and determine whether interest rates should go up or down. In most normal places, this would be like high inflation, the wage gap, and all this other stuff would be signals to say, hey, let's raise interest rates or at least keep them where they are. Um, but Trump, wants them to go down. And what you have lower interest rates where things are worse it can make your economy worse. And so the president who continues to show his incompetence in all levels. I don't know if you've seen the reflecting pool, Andy, but there's
Yeah,
been a lot of great, video. I mean, I saw it with my own eyes, Andy. Great video of people at the reflecting pool with algae in it and it looking green. I can't even see where the flag blue or whatever the blue level was came into place. And this is supposed to be how awesome Trump is because he's done it so much better, Andy.
yeah,
So.
yeah. At the cost of the U.S. taxpayer.
Yeah, it's all of his
Yeah,
shit is at the cost of it's all at the cost of the United States. So, all right, Ian, let's get off of this.
yeah.
Let's talk a little sports.
Let's do that.
So
That's way better.
we had a pretty crazy weekend this weekend, Andy. Last night, the Carolina Hurricanes won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah,
It's their second Stanley Cup, and so in the great state of North Carolina, you have Charlotte and Raleigh, the two big places. Raleigh has is the home base of the Carolina Hurricanes, but the state claims it for all, and it's another great Stanley Cup victory for them. They beat the Las Vegas Knights, Andy, you probably don't watch a whole lot of hockey. I don't watch hockey a whole lot either, but the Las Vegas Knights, they do a lot of really cool shit on their like ice before the game and everything. It's the same thing with like Seattle, the Krakens. They do some cool pregame stuff on their ice.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we had that. But the bigger story was the New York Knicks, Andy. You called it. You said it at the beginning of it. You thought the Knicks were going to win. Um, they broke a 53 years, Andy.
Yeah.
53 years.
Huge.
Long suffering organization. 53 years and good on the city of New York. Jalen Brunson was the MVP. It just really good stuff. Did you watch any of it, Andy?
So just to highlight it, I didn't actually watch the games themselves being played, but I feel like you hit an important point. Like with the Stanley Cup, I feel like the Knicks and the NBA were so front in everybody's mind this last month. The playoffs were so big. It really overshadowed the NHL in a way that hasn't happened, I think, recently because NHL has really come up so far the last, many years. It's really grown in popularity so much, and it really just got overwhelmed by the Knicks. But a huge win yesterday for Carolina. The Panthers, I was about to say the Panthers, but for the Hurricanes, I mean, a really big win, a big deal, a big victory, but minimally noticed between
Yeah.
things happening at the White House and the Knicks' incredible victory. Barely noticed it. Super exciting. And as exciting as it is for Carolina, I don't think anything can top the Knicks' incredible victory, 4-1 in the championship, overcoming a very strong team that defeated a very strong team and been beating the Thunder to get to the finals. Nobody was predicting this at the beginning of the season. Nobody was predicting this at the start of the playoffs, really. And then the Knicks showed up.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people thought the Knicks were a good team, but you're right. Nobody thought that they were going to be at the end of the year. Now, the Eastern Conference was supposed to be weaker this year, but the Knicks, they went 16-3 in the playoffs. They won 13 straight games.
Yeah,
They lost two of their losses were by 1 point, and the other one was by a handful. Like it's a truly remarkable run. And you're right. They beat the San Antonio Spurs, who really beat up on the Oklahoma City Thunder, who were supposed to be the team, like the team that was going to win 15, championships in a row or something. They
yeah,
had this young
yeah.
team. Now the Spurs came along. They've got a younger team and all this other stuff. Andy, but you're already starting to hear some of the like, well, what do they need to change? What do they need to do differently? Same thing like with Oklahoma City, they're too big. Like they have the big Shea Gilgeous-Alexander was their star. He's the MVP, two-time MVP. But they had two other players that were hurt for most of the series. Their second option was hurt. Their fourth option was hurt too, and their third option, Chet Holmgren was awful during the series. But after they won last year, everybody's like they're going to win the next five championships. And then they lost, and now it's like, what do we need to do differently? What do we need to blow up? What do we need to bring
Yeah,
in and do all
yeah,
these things? And now San Antonio is like they were ahead of schedule. This is year three of Wembanyama, and I'm butchering his name, but I'm sorry, but Victor Wemby. They have a Castle, who's a really good point guard. Then they have Harper, who's another a rookie this year. They're like, well, what do we need to do differently? They need to change they got to the NBA finals.
yeah.
Like, do we
Only
have
one
to
team
do
wins.
this?
Only
Do we
one
have to
team
do
wins.
this every year? I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. And you're absolutely right. I mean, the teams get hot, and the Knicks
Yeah.
got hot at the right time, right? The Knicks got at the right time, and for teams to lose, look, like things happen. Like we saw this again. I bring things back to football. The Lions had a great season, came back last year, a cluster for a million reasons. And if you give too much attention to one thing, you lose sight of the fact that sometimes just things don't come together the way they need to exactly when you need them to. For the Knicks, they did. For the Knicks, they got hot. Players stepped up. Everything was going their way. Momentum, support, good performance, getting things done, avoiding mistakes, winning the games. For other teams, like injuries, a missed shot, getting out of sync, the pressure of the playoffs, like so many things can disrupt your success when there's nothing wrong with the team, right? And when you've built a team like San Antonio has, when you built a team like the Thunder have, like you are highly competitive. It should be tweaking, just getting better, taking the experience, learning from it, for the Thunder, look, we won. We had a good run. Let's come back next year and do it, right? It's not like the Knicks are a juggernaut that can't be defeated. Same thing for the Spurs. Like you said, ahead of schedule, rising star drafted, was clearly going to be the top draft pick in his class. The Spurs got the top pick in the lottery, brought in this great international talent, doing fantastic and performing well, and got to the finals. Top team in the West. Just win games. Like just keep
Yeah.
getting better.
Yeah, I think I wish we just did like you were talking about it with the Lions and the Miles Garrett deal. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, could the Lions have gone in there, but it would have upset so many other things for them.
yeah,
And I think it's so much sometimes people get into this. We have to fix something. We have to do like there are chains of events that occur, and I wish we just didn't have that. After every time somebody loses, well, what do they need to do? Hey, just let's run it back again. Let's see where we're going, see what we're doing, and how that can work out. So, but yeah, it was interesting finals. I did find myself watching more than I normally would. I didn't like again, the game started at 8:30, all the pomp and circumstances. It's 10:30, 11 o'clock. So I'm usually in bed by then, Andy. So, but I watched a good deal in the beginning, so at least I had that going for me. So,
yeah. It's exciting. Maybe not America's most exciting sporting event of the weekend, Dave, but exciting nonetheless.
do you want to talk UFC, Andy?
No, I don't.
Okay, I don't particularly want to do it either. There was fucking a clown show that was on. Like people, again, I have nothing against UFC, but when you like read the details of the finances behind all of this, like what was pledged to Dana White and all this other stuff. And look, if you want to put a press conference on the National Mall and have the United States Military Honor Guard there and using government resources for a promotional event like this, and then have one of your people get up there and say Michelle Obama's a man. Like if that's what you're bringing to the White House, fuck man, I don't know. So
Well, to tell you this, Dave, I don't know where you want to go here this last segment, but you mentioned Obama and you mentioned Michelle Obama. There's great video circulating this weekend of Barack Obama. I can't remember the event that he was speaking at, but just talking to, basically, he said it multiple times, just imagine if he had done the types of thing this administration is doing.
yeah,
Imagine if he'd taken away Fox News's credentials from the White House press corps. Imagine if he persecuted his perceived political enemies, attacking law firms and citizens and organizations that he saw as being opposed to his agenda. I cannot imagine the voices of Sean Hannity and Alex Jones and Steve Bannon screaming bloody murder. And he said it calmly, with grace, but just a candid perspective on the absurdity of everything we're going through right now. It's worth watching. It's worth appreciating and just contrasting with this wild White House. And I'll say it again, Dave. If this president were to be successful in finding a way to run for a third term, there's a time when I was like, absolutely, I would welcome it because I think the Democrats should put up Barack Obama and let those two run head to head and watch President Trump get absolutely obliterated in that election.
it would be good because I think everyone's like, oh, everyone's fearful that Trump would run again, and yeah, put Obama back up there.
Yeah,
Like, put him up there. I mean, let's see, because Obama, that would mean Obama could run again
that's
for a
right.
third.
That's right.
So, yeah, it's awesome. But you're absolutely right. Is if we have failed so much by allowing like this thing. I mean, I saw somebody post the other day, like President Trump is a liar. Why are we not just like he calls reporters nasty things. He called a reporter piggy. He's told them they're terrible people, they're crooks and they're sellouts as well. Why can't we go back to him and say, Mr. President, you have lied? Why
Yeah,
can't we say like you call a spade a spade? He's a liar.
yeah,
Everything like he says things on camera, and then the next day will say, "I never said that." Hegseth's a great one at that too. Like you manipulated my words, but
yeah. By
he's
using
working
my
on.
exact words.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I don't want to talk about that, Andy. I'm going to
That's
talk
right.
about something different. So
Take us. Take us.
let's talk World Cup, Andy.
All right.
Did you watch any of the matches this
Yes,
weekend?
well, again, I had it on and I was watching through, and I came back and watched some of the highlights and the amazing play, some of the unbelievable scores, some really good matches, and exciting for the host nations.
Yeah, host nations so far have been doing really well. Canada had a weird tie, but that's okay. They'll still be fine. I think they'll still be fine. But stars off when on Friday night, United States. I watched the first half, a little of the second half. Three goals in that first half,
Yeah,
Andy.
yeah,
Look, very impressive. They looked really good.
yeah,
Paraguay, I wouldn't say is a top team, but they're still a good team. I mean, you're still you're still in the World Cup.
yeah.
So and they've beaten the United States before too. But there was just very all on an offensive standpoint, it was just attack, attack, attack. It was really impressive, Andy.
Yeah, I mean, I think the U.S. surpassed expectations. Look, every team in the tournament deserves to be there. Some teams, like as we saw in the very lopsided Germany Curacao game, like some teams obviously are top tier veteran teams, and some are just entering the World Cup for the first time, and you can see that difference. But for the U.S. to come out and score against an America's rival in Paraguay and do so well, I thought was amazing. Mexico coming out playing really strong against South Africa, very exciting. And beyond the games, there's definitely a lot of excitement. Just watching the teams and the fans celebrating at each of these matches and wherever they are has been awesome. But I mean, some really big victories and some really big games. I think our predictions have looked pretty good so far. For like what we predicted within the brackets within the first part of this tournament. I think most of what we were saying is kind of looking like those teams are performing where they need to. But an exciting match, Dave. Brazil Morocco 1-1. Was not expecting that.
Yeah, and I think already Brazil's on the hot seat. The
Yeah,
coaches been there. Like Morocco, we felt was going to advance. They're a good team, but and they went far in the last World Cup. But
yeah,
man, 1-1 here. This was a good one. Another good one, Netherlands versus Japan,
yeah,
Andy.
yeah,
Uh, the orange wave and the Netherlands have a really bright orange uniform. But they had the orange wave going through Houston. They had a great game against Japan. They went up 1-0. Japan tied it. Then Netherlands went up, and then Japan came back in the last couple minutes. You also had Qatar, Andy,
yeah,
getting their first point in this thing as well with the last minute goal to tie that game up. So really exciting games, Andy. But you mentioned Germany, the lopsided win 7-1 over Curacao. If you saw any of the news report, it was kind of funny. They were talking upsets, and they showed the Germany game. I was like, wait a second, it was 3-1 when I turned it off.
yeah,
But Curacao just scoring a goal was an upset, Andy.
yeah.
So
I mean, you're talking about playing one of the world powerhouses. Getting
yeah,
getting a point is a big deal. So hats off to them for doing that. Germany came right back, and I think dominated. I think it went on a 6-0 run after that. But still great to see, and for that player making that goal in their opening match in their first World Cup, heaven. I mean, that guy is in heaven. He's done something amazing for his nation. Can't beat that.
yeah, for sure. In another one of the Group D, which is the United States group, Australia beat Turkey 2-0. That was
Yeah,
a upset there as well. So, great games. And then today we've got Spain versus Cape Verde,
yeah,
Belgium versus Egypt, Saudi Arabia versus Uruguay, and Iran versus New Zealand. I think three of those games are going to be, I think, pretty handily won. Spain, Belgium, and Uruguay should
yeah,
probably win pretty handily. Iran versus New Zealand is going to be interesting. Um, One, there's going to be a lot of the drama around Iran, but they're playing in Los Angeles. But they're playing New Zealand, which I don't think is necessarily a top team. But nonetheless, let's see how that game unfolds here, Andy.
yeah.
So.
I mean, there's something, the way players stand up for their nation in world play, whether it's World Cup or the Olympics or whatever format is like, there's something to be said for like appreciating the moment and playing with pride for your country. And look, take nothing away from New Zealand. Like good luck Kiwis, but the Iranian players are going to play with a lot of pride. They've seen what their country's been going through. They're playing the World Cup in North America. they're seeing their country defend a U.S. attack against U.S. attack, they're going to come out and they're going to play their very best. Candidly, I think there was a time when the world looked at Iran as a pariah nation. Through the last 3 months, there's been a lot of increased sort of sympathy for the Iranian people, if not necessarily for this regime itself, but I think a lot more sort of reluctant approval of the regime just for standing up to the Trump-led invasion. And so these players are going to, I think, really play with a lot of enthusiasm and national pride. And I think it would be exciting to see Iran make a run, and they could start tonight. They're not going to advance, far in the tournament. They're not the top tier team, but they could beat New Zealand, and I think it'd be really exciting for them to win tonight's match.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, look, again, what has really changed in Iran? I mean, other than they got bombed pretty heavily and a lot of the infrastructure got changed. I mean, again, going back to this peace deal, they seem to benefit in a lot of ways, perception wise and I guess financially they're going to be benefiting here. Though, gotta watch out because I think the administration may come after me for saying stuff about the deal that nobody wants to say the details on, but it's better than the one Obama, Barack Hussein Obama.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, so we got some exciting games coming up. We've got the United States playing. They don't play again until next Friday. They play Australia. That game's at noon, though. So that's on Juneteenth, Andy. I think that's a holiday
That's
for
right.
most people. So you could be able to watch that game at noon and not worry about bedtime sleep, I think, Andy. Or maybe that's noon out there, 3 o'clock. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's going
It's
on.
going to be on. It's going to be played.
It's gonna be played. That's the important part. Yeah, noon local, 3 p.m. Eastern. So it messed up that a little bit. Okay. All right, Andy. It's a pretty good start to the day.
Good start to the
Good start
week.
to the week.
Yeah.
All right. See, we won already, Andy. We won. So all right, with that, I will catch up with you on Wednesday.